The Meridian observation post detected Earth's first faster-than-light transmission at precisely 1527 Galactic Standard Time. Senior observer Kilara, her crystalline form shifting through shades of deep blue, studied the signal with growing fascination. After millennia of watching primitive civilizations stumble into the cosmic community, she had developed an eye for potential. This signal was different. Most peculiar, she murmured, her voice resonating through the chamber's perfect acoustics. They've achieved FTL communication without first mastering gravity manipulation. She gestured at the holographic display, expanding the signal analysis. Protocol suggests immediate contact. But something made her hesitate. The message itself was unlike anything in the Meridian archives. Most emerging civilizations broadcast their greatest achievements, mathematical proofs, or artistic creations. The humans had sent something else entirely. Greetings to all who receive this message. We are humanity of Earth. We seek peaceful contact and mutual understanding. We respectfully request that you consider our words carefully. Please don't make us angry. We mean this sincerely and with goodwill. Kilara's crystalline surface rippled with amusement. In her 1,000 years of observation, she had never encountered a species that led with a warning. The Meridian High Council would find this entertaining. These humans apparently thought themselves formidable enough to issue cautions to civilizations that had mastered the fundamental forces of the universe. Within hours, the High Council convened in their orbital chamber above the Meridian homeworld. The ancient beings, their crystalline forms refracting starlight in complex patterns, reviewed Kilara's report with what passed for mirth among their kind. They've barely established colonies on their own moon, Council leader Xerix observed, his form flickering with patterns of condescending amusement. Yet they warn us not to anger them. Perhaps, Councillor Venn suggested, her patterns shifting to analytical green, we should study them more closely. Any species that develops FTL communication through such an unconventional path might have other surprises. Study them, yes, Xerix agreed. But also guide them. They clearly need to understand their place in the cosmic hierarchy. His pattern shifted to decisive crimson. Send the integration fleet. Show them proper civilization. Their warning is charming, but they must learn that in this universe, power speaks louder than politeness. The Council's decision was unanimous. The Meridian Integration Fleet, 50 ships of living crystal powered by bound stellar cores, departed for Earth within the day. They would arrive in 6 months, more than enough time for humanity to appreciate the gap between their civilizations. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen stared at her quantum communication array with growing concern. The device she had invented, bypassing conventional theories about faster-than-light travel through a quirk of quantum mechanics she still didn't fully understand, was receiving a response. The message was beautiful, patterns of light that conveyed meaning directly to the brain. It spoke of welcome, of guidance, of elevation to a greater cosmic community. But something in its tone made Sarah's stomach clench. They're not taking us seriously, she told the UN Security Council the next day. Worse, they're treating us like children who need to be taught their place. Can we stop them from coming? The Secretary General asked, leaning forward in his chair. No, Sarah replied, her expression grim. But we can prepare. They've chosen to ignore our warning, which tells us everything we need to know about their attitude toward younger civilizations. The Security Council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had hoped their first contact would be with beings who would respect their autonomy, who would heed a simple, polite warning. Instead, they were about to meet aliens who had already decided humanity's role in the cosmos. Well, Sarah said, breaking the silence, we tried to be nice about it. Begin the preparations. If they won't respect our warning, they'll have to learn why we gave it in the first place. As humanity mobilized with quiet determination, the Meridian Integration Fleet continued its stately progress through space, its commanders never questioning why a primitive species would warn others not to make them angry. They would learn, as with the rest of the galaxy, that humanity's politeness was not born of weakness, but of hard-won wisdom about their own capabilities when pushed too far. The Meridian Integration Fleet emerged from hyperspace in a dazzling display of crystalline geometry, their ships catching Earth's sunlight and transforming it into prismatic cascades. Fleet Commander Nixus observed the blue-green world through his ship's quantum sensors, his crystalline form pulsing with satisfaction at humanity's predictably awestruck response. Except humanity didn't respond with awe. Earth's orbital stations continued their work. Ground-based telescopes tracked the Meridian ships with professional interest, and through the quantum frequencies, a simple message repeated: "Welcome to Sol System. Please maintain your current distance from Earth. We look forward to peaceful dialogue." They're being remarkably calm, Nixus's second-in-command noted, her crystalline surface rippling with uncertainty. "They don't understand what they're seeing," Nixus replied confidently. "Our ships represent technology beyond their comprehension. Begin the standard integration protocol." The Meridian fleet spread out in a perfect geometric pattern, each ship positioning itself to create a resonance field that would demonstrate their mastery of space-time itself. It was a display that had humbled countless emerging civilizations. But as the resonance field began to form, something unexpected happened. Earth's quantum communications shifted frequency, perfectly matching and canceling the field's effects. "Impossible," Nixus whispered, his crystalline surface clouding with confusion. "They couldn't have analyzed and countered our technology so quickly." Dr. Sarah Chen smiled as she watched the Meridian fleet's reaction from her laboratory beneath the Atacama Desert. "Actually," she muttered to herself, "we've been practicing since we detected your approach 6 months ago." Around her, banks of quantum computers hummed, running simulations based on the light-bending properties of the alien ships. What the Meridians didn't understand was that humanity had spent those 6 months not in panic, but in preparation. Every telescope on and above Earth had been studying the fleet's approach, analyzing their technology, and developing countermeasures. "They're adjusting their resonance pattern," one of Sarah's colleagues announced. "New frequency incoming." "They still think this is about technology," Sarah said, shaking her head. "They don't understand that we warned them about our nature, not our capabilities." In orbit, Nixus was facing a growing crisis. Every attempt to demonstrate Meridian superiority was being met with calm, calculated responses. The humans weren't behaving like any emerging civilization in recorded history. "Perhaps," his second-in-command suggested, "we should attempt direct communication before proceeding with integration." "No," Nixus decided, his form hardening with determination. "They're using technological tricks, nothing more. Prepare the Enlightenment Beam." The Enlightenment Beam was the Meridian's pride, a technology that could rewrite a planet's information networks, replacing primitive systems with advanced Meridian knowledge. It was considered a gift, a way to elevate species into the galactic community. The beam lanced toward Earth, a stream of pure information that would overwhelm and transform human technology. But as it approached Earth's atmosphere, something unprecedented occurred. The beam split, its energy redirected through a network of quantum relays that humanity had positioned around their planet. In her underground lab, Sarah watched as the alien data streamed into isolated quantum systems, ready to be studied safely. "Thank you for the technical documentation," she transmitted to the Meridian fleet. "We look forward to reviewing it." Nixus's crystalline form trembled with the first hints of real concern. The humans hadn't just defended against the Enlightenment Beam. They had captured and contained it. Worse, they had done so without revealing any of their own technological capabilities. "This species," his second-in-command said slowly, "they didn't develop like the others, did they?" "No," Nixus admitted, reviewing humanity's warning message with new understanding. "They didn't warn us about their weapons or their defenses. They warned us about making them angry." As if in response, a new message arrived from Earth. "We appreciate your attempt to share knowledge. However, we prefer to develop at our own pace. We ask again, please respect our boundaries. You won't enjoy the alternatives. In the depths of space, the crystalline ships hung motionless, their commanders facing an uncomfortable realization. They had assumed humanity's warning was primitive bravado. Now they had to consider a more disturbing possibility. What if it was simply honest advice? The Meridian High Council's emergency session pulsed with agitated light patterns as they reviewed Fleet Commander Nix's report. Their perfect crystalline chamber, usually a model of geometric harmony, rippled with disturbed energy. These humans, Council Leader Xerx's voice resonated with barely contained frustration. They aren't merely resistant. They're prepared, as if they've spent their entire history expecting this moment. The truth was more complex than the Meridians could imagine. While they had spent millennia perfecting their crystalline technology along a single, elegant path, humanity had developed through chaos, conflict, and constant adaptation. On Earth, the United Defense Council convened in their underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. Dr. Sarah Chen presented her analysis of the Meridians' attempted technological incursion. Their Enlightenment Beam is fascinating, she explained, projecting a hologram of the captured alien data. It's perfect, elegant, and completely predictable. That's their weakness. General Maya Rodriguez, her combat exoskeleton gleaming under the facility's lights, leaned forward. Predictable how? The Meridians evolved their technology like growing a crystal, each advancement building perfectly on the last. But humanity? Sarah smiled. We stumbled forward like drunk college students at a party. We tried everything, failed spectacularly, and learned from each disaster. In orbit, the Meridian fleet was attempting a new approach. If they couldn't overwhelm human technology, they would demonstrate their power more directly. Nix's ordered a precision strike, a beam of concentrated energy that would carve his species' name into the surface of Earth's moon. The beam never reached the moon. Instead, it encountered a field of quantum particles that bent the energy back on itself, creating a dazzling light show that spelled out "nice try" in perfect Meridian script. How? Nixus demanded, his crystalline form fracturing with stress patterns. How are they doing this? The answer was simple, though incomprehensible to the Meridians. Humanity hadn't developed a single perfect defense. They had developed thousands of imperfect ones, layered together in ways that made no logical sense, but worked brilliantly in practice. Dr. Chen's quantum defense grid utilized principles from failed experiments in cold fusion. The orbital deflectors were based on a misunderstood theory about black holes. Each human technology was a patchwork of accidents, innovations, and desperate improvisations. They're moving again, General Rodriguez announced, watching the tactical display. The Meridian fleet was reconfiguring into an attack formation that, according to their cultural database, was thousands of years old and considered invincible. Sarah checked her readings and laughed. They still think we're fighting a technological battle. They haven't realized this is about psychology. The Meridians launched their assault, a complex pattern of energy beams and quantum distortions designed to overwhelm any possible defense through sheer geometric perfection. But humanity had learned long ago that perfection was often the enemy of effectiveness. Earth's response was chaos theory in action. Thousands of small satellites, each operating on different principles, created an unpredictable web of interference. Ground-based stations fired bursts of particles that shouldn't have worked together, but somehow did. The elegant Meridian Attack dissolved into harmless light. Send the next message, General Rodriguez ordered. Across all frequencies in perfect Meridian language, Earth broadcasted, "Your technology is impressive, but you still haven't understood our warning. This isn't about power. It's about what happens when you push us too far." In the crystalline council chamber, Xerx received the report of another failed attack with growing dread. "These humans," he said slowly, "they're not just resistant to integration. They're immune to it. Our perfection means nothing to them." "Perhaps," suggested Counselor Venn, her patterns showing deep concern, "we should consider why a species would develop in such a chaotic way. What kind of history would produce beings who advance through disorder and warn others not to make them angry? The answer was beginning to dawn on the Meridians, but they were about to learn it the hard way. Because humanity's warning hadn't been about their technology, their defenses, or even their military capabilities. It had been about what happened when humans were pushed past the point of politeness. And the Meridians, despite all their advanced calculations and perfect strategies, had failed to ask themselves a crucial question. What makes a species develop countless ways to survive? What forces would drive a civilization to embrace chaos as a shield? They were about to find out. The Meridian High Council made their final decision in a chamber that no longer sparkled with pristine light. Their crystalline forms showed stress fractures, physical manifestations of their disturbed mental state. If we cannot perfect them, Council leader Xerix declared, his voice harsh with harmonics never before heard in their sacred chamber, then we must break them. For the good of galactic order. On Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen felt the change before their instruments detected it. A subtle shift in quantum frequencies, a darkening of the orbital readings. They're done trying to teach us, she announced to the Defense Council. Now they want to punish us. The Meridian Fleet's transformation was beautiful in its terrible perfection. 50 ships merged into a single crystalline lattice, focusing the power of their bound stellar cores into what their archives called the Light of Judgment, a weapon that had ended civilizations. Final warning, humans. Nixus transmitted, his message carrying the full authority of the Meridian civilization. Submit to integration, or we will demonstrate why the galaxy follows our guidance. The response came not from the Defense Council, not from any official channel, but from a small radio station in Nebraska. We asked nicely. Remember that. The Light of Judgment fired, a beam of such pure energy that it could rewrite the laws of physics within its reach. It struck Earth's atmosphere and met nothing. No shields, no quantum fields, no defenses of any kind. For a moment, Nixus felt the satisfaction of victory. Then he noticed something odd about his sensors. The beam wasn't stopping. It wasn't destroying. It was being absorbed. Across Earth's surface, thousands of hidden installations activated. Technology pieced together from 100 different scientific accidents. Theories that shouldn't have worked, experiments that had failed in exactly the right way. Each one drawing in a fraction of the Meridian weapon's power, channeling it through pathways that defied proper physics. What are they doing? Nixus demanded, his crystalline form vibrating with the first real fear he'd ever known. This isn't possible. Dr. Chen watched the energy readings spike on her quantum displays. This, she said softly, is why we warned them. We're really good at turning others' power against them. We've had lots of practice. The absorbed energy coursed through a worldwide network of improbable technologies. In the Atacama, cold fusion reactors that had never quite worked suddenly blazed with new purpose. Beneath the Antarctic ice, dark matter detectors that had failed to find their quarry channeled forces they were never meant to touch. In orbit, satellites carrying experimental drives meant for deep space exploration locked into precise positions. Humanity hadn't built a perfect defense against the Light of Judgment. They'd built 1,000 imperfect ones and waited to see which would work. Energy conversion at 400% efficiency, one of Sarah's technicians reported with a mix of awe and concern. Sir, that's not supposed to be possible. Welcome to human science, Sarah replied, where impossible just means we haven't failed in the right way yet. The Meridian lattice weapon faltered as its energy was not merely absorbed but redirected, channeled, and transformed. Each human installation adapted differently to the power, creating a cascade of unique reactions that no single species could have predicted or controlled. In orbit, Nixus watched in horror as his perfect weapon's energy was turned back upon itself, not in a single overwhelming burst, but in thousands of smaller, unpredictable waves. Each one found a different flaw in the crystalline lattice, exploiting weaknesses that shouldn't have existed in their perfect geometry. How? He demanded one final time. How can you do this? The answer came from General Rodriguez, her voice calm. Because we've spent our entire history learning from mistakes you were too perfect to make. We warned you not to make us angry because we know exactly how dangerous angry people can be. We've learned that lesson countless times. As the Meridian fleet's perfect crystalline structure began to fragment, humanity demonstrated why their warning had been so specific. They didn't destroy the alien ships. They didn't seek revenge. Instead, they systematically dismantled the fleet's ability to fight while preserving their ability to retreat. It wasn't a victory through superior technology. It was a victory through the uniquely human ability to turn failure into innovation, to find strength in imperfection, and to learn from every mistake, even those made by others. 3 standard galactic months after what became known as the Meridian Incident, the Grand Assembly of Civilizations convened an unprecedented session. Representatives from 1,000 species gathered in the ancient hall, their forms as diverse as the stars themselves, to discuss a single question: what do we do about humanity? The Meridian High Council attended, their crystalline forms still showing signs of repair. They had survived their encounter with humanity, largely because humans had chosen to show restraint. This fact, more than any display of power, had shaken the galaxy's oldest civilizations to their core. Council leader Xerix addressed the assembly, his voice carrying the humility of hard-won wisdom. "We misunderstood their warning," he admitted. "We thought it was primitive bravado. Instead, it was professional courtesy." Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the assembly as Earth's representative, her presence a stark contrast to the ancient beings surrounding her. "We never wanted to demonstrate why we warn others not to make us angry," she began. "We've spent our history learning about anger's consequences. Every human carries those lessons in their DNA." The assembly chamber filled with murmurs as she continued. "You see perfection as the goal. We see it as stagnation. You seek to eliminate failure. We expect it, embrace it, learn from it. You try to impose order on the galaxy. She smiled. We serve chaos. A being of pure energy, ancient when the Meridians were young, moved forward. But surely you understand our concern. Your species advances through conflict, learns through failure, and grows stronger from adversity. What happens when you run out of challenges?" Sarah's laugh echoed through the chamber. "That's what you still don't understand. We don't need external challenges. Humans challenge themselves. Right now, back on Earth, scientists are probably trying to reverse engineer the Meridian technology we captured, not because we need to, but because someone said it was impossible." The assembly stirred uncomfortably. An elder race of silicon-based crystalline beings, distant cousins to the Meridians, raised a concern. "Your warning suggests you expect to be angered. Why not simply tell others to leave you alone?" "Because isolation isn't our goal," Sarah explained. "We want to join the galactic community. We want to learn, trade, and grow together. We just need everyone to understand that cooperation works better than coercion. Our warning isn't a threat. It's an invitation to skip the part where you try to force us to change and jump straight to mutual respect." Understanding finally began to dawn across the assembly. Humanity's warning hadn't been about their military power or technological capabilities. It had been about their fundamental nature, their ability to adapt, to turn opposition into opportunity, to learn from every encounter, even hostile ones. The Grand Assembly concluded with an unprecedented decision. Earth would not be subject to the traditional integration protocols. Instead, humanity would be invited to join the galactic community on their own terms, as neither conquerors nor servants, but as something new, innovators who had learned to thrive on the edge of chaos. Back on Earth, Sarah's return was met not with grand ceremonies, but with quiet satisfaction and typically more questions. In her lab beneath the Atacama Desert, her team was already experimenting with hybrid technologies that merged Meridian precision with human improvisation. "You know," one of her colleagues said, examining a quantum field generator that definitely wasn't built to code, "maybe we should update our warning message, make it clearer." Sarah watched as the generator produced results that should have been impossible, its jury-rigged components somehow achieving efficiency levels that made pure Meridian technology look primitive. "No," she replied with a smile. "I think, please don't make us angry works just fine. After all, it's not the warning that matters. It's making sure they understand why we give it." Above Earth, stars twinkled in a sky that now held new meaning. Humanity had taken its place among them, not through perfect technology or superior strength, but through their unique ability to learn from every mistake, even those made by others. Their warning remained, carried on quantum frequencies to the edges of known space. "We are humanity. We seek peace and friendship. Please don't make us angry." And now, finally, the galaxy understood why.